What up, everybody? Welcome to the Smoking Tire Podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Off the Record. We love Off the Record because they make it easy to beat the system. If you get pulled over for a moving violation in any of the 50 states in the United States, you don't plead guilty, you get Off the Record. You go to offtherecord.com/TST. There you fill out some basic information about what happened and you share a photo or scan of the ticket, and then Off the Record does the rest. They get to work connecting you to a qualified local attorney who will fight that ticket on your behalf. And most of the time, they get her done. I have used Off the Record successfully a bunch of times, and so have a bunch of you guys based on the number of emails I get about it. So, one more time, offtherecord.com/TST. That's offtherecord.com/TST. Get you 10% off all legal services that you book through Off the Record. Do it. On this episode, we are back from our 4th of July break. I have been riding the Can-Am Pulse electric motorcycle, and I've been reading Adrian Newey's book, How to Build a Car. Plus, Zach and I review some crash footage of the Nurburgring, see if we can assign some blame, and talk about scooters a lot. Plus, a bunch of questions from our lovely Patreon over at patreon.com/The Smoking Tire Podcast. Let's do it. Without it being like a chant, when it's spoken, it loses all of its power. You know, I need it to be like, it has to be like done like the commercial.
We are farmers,
Yeah.
right?
Not give it a free ad time. I'm paying over here.
Look, you remember all the designers of cars. I'll remember the jingles, and we got it all covered.
We wall-to-wall mini tunes. I believe you called them commercials.
What is that from?
Demolition Man.
Oh.
In the future, Demolition Man, commercial jingles
Oh, yeah.
are the
That
only
is the music.
That's music.
That's right.
Yeah.
I should watch it again.
By the way, I don't know how many music videos you've seen recently, but the two are rapidly merging.
Every time I hear like a party song, I remember when Little John came out with Shots, and how bars would respond. Like people at bars would go buy shots, and I was like, and now if I hear that kind of attitude in a song, I go, is this paid for by Big Liquor to just get people to go to the bar?
I mean, I can't say definitively that there was like no product placement in the Nothing But a G-Thang video, for instance, or the Smells Like Teen Spirit video. But like, I'm pretty sure Kurt's Flannel and Dre's Lowrider were not sponsored in those videos.
Well, those were new genres, so I bet companies were very cautious at first. And now,
but okay, but like, let's call it the greatest hair metal video of all time.
Was Pepsi and Bon Jovi is what we're asking, I think. Like, did he have a video where he's like, and it's label out, and he sips the Coca-Cola?
He might have done a commercial, but it never would have been in the video.
Right. No, I know what you're saying.
Like right now, I think didn't we talk on a recent show about the 4 seconds of continuous product placement?
Was product placement in 80s music videos?
I'm sure there's an example of it somewhere. But it's got to be much, much less.
Let's see. Well, this random website, who knows if they're right, says it goes back to the early 80s, but it's definitely accelerated.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, hi, everybody. Welcome into the show after the 4th of July. Zach went to Colorado, family time. I stayed here, wife time. Didn't do much. 4th of July was fabulously mellow in Los Angeles. The number of fireworks were substantially reduced from last year, which was last year was fucking a war zone. I attribute it to two things. I think one, maybe wildfire awareness. Maybe people were like, "Ooh, remember what just happened?
Yeah.
Like, better not," because there was lots of fireworks, but a substantial drop in mortars.
Right.
So I think
they're also more expensive. My barber, I was talking to him about it. I don't know if it's that, but he said a mortar used to be $150, and him and his brother would his two brothers, they'd share it. They'd all throw in 50, and they'd get one big mortar. And he's like, now they're $300. It's all black market in Los Angeles. For people listening.
Someone has a shrinkflation story about fireworks, please. Yeah.
I guess inflation, tariff, danger. I don't know what it is, but they've doubled in price over time, and so maybe that's hurting people.
I mean, the kids that make them charge more now.
I think a lot of them are made. There's a lot of U.S. firework companies, and if you ever go on Google Earth and look at their facility, it's a big building surrounded by a huge berm.
Yeah.
Just in case.
For sure.
Yeah.
150 to 300 per shell.
Yeah, he said per mortar is $300. I
haven't bought mortars in 15 years, but there were nothing like that.
I think these are the big ones. He's saying these aren't the little boom. This is
no. I mean, the ones I was buying back in the day had probably a 2-inch tube. Is that what? Are you talking about a 4 or 6 inch?
He didn't whip
tube?
it out, but he was inferring that it was the big professional stuff that shakes the ground. Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, there was a lot less of those.
That's
I think
good.
wildfire awareness, and I think possibly the Hispanic population was keeping a lower profile than normal and not lighting off a bunch of fireworks in the neighborhood as they may have done in the past.
I don't know. Maybe
that's a guess.
I wouldn't. Yeah.
But the city was pretty empty. Like traffic was delightful.
Denver was going off because I was at a Red Rock show during 4th of July, and our seats were high enough you could see beyond the stage to downtown, and it looked like a smaller version of LA, like pop, 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 pop.
That must be what a nice day to see a show at a theater. Great. If that's your that's an extra special background.
They planned the viewpoint, and it was perfectly done.
And it was like Blues Traveler.
It was Spin Doctors, then Gin Blossoms, then Blues Traveler.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good. Did anyone still have it?
I think Spin Doctors sounded exactly like they do on the album, and their lead singer is like
he's
friendly,
funny.
charismatic, funny dude.
What the fuck is that guy's name?
Chris Barron.
Yes, that guy was like great on Twitter when Twitter was fun.
Oh, really?
When Twitter was fun, that dude's Twitter ruled. Yeah.
He was good. Gin Blossoms is not really my sound, but I also think their bassist might have been unplugged by accident, or the sound mix just all their guitars and the guy's voice are very high pitched. Like it's kind of tinny.
It's a high pitched.
And I couldn't hear the bass, so that might have been part of it. And I texted Christian James Hand later, and I was like, "What do you think of the Gin Blossoms?" Because
he likes the Gin Blossoms.
He said their first album is near perfect.
He and I are very pro New Miserable Experience.
Yeah.
New Miserable Experience is an exceptional album.
I think I need to listen to the album mix, and maybe I'll come around on it.
I mean, it's of a time. If you don't like that type of music, you're not going to start liking it now.
True.
But it is a really good album that if you do like that kind of music, it's a start to finish record. For a band's first record, it's amazing.
The shit was everywhere too.
Yeah,
they were big famous. And then and Blues Traveler were good when they were good, but I think I texted you, I think John Popper had some health issues and like literally he had a health issue a few months ago, and then on stage he thanked the local hospital, and then he kept alluding to something. He's like, "We barely made it here today. I want to thank doctors and the lawyers and everybody, like the team that came together to make it happen." And everyone's "What happened?" And he won't tell us.
What's the thing?
So there was a big thing,
oh, no.
And I get it. You don't want to go into it, but something happened that definitely impacted his health and his ability to like perform consecutive songs. So
Hook is
played that last.
Possibly the funniest and best rock song ever written.
It is. It's trolling.
Lyrically, I think possibly the best rock song ever written. And if you don't know, go ask somebody why.
Yeah.
That song is so fucking good. When Christian and I were doing, I think Christian has a breakdown of it that exists somewhere that probably can't be shared for legal reasons. And he and I did one in the studio during COVID on Instagram, and it was so fun. Hook is such a fucking perfect song. I hope John Popper is okay.
Yeah, me too. This is the first date of they're all touring together for a while. So this is the beginning.
Does it have a cheeky name of a festival?
The middle age. I don't know.
Who played first and who played last? And is that going to be consistent?
Spin Doctors, Gin Blossoms, then Blues Traveler.
Do you think it'll be that every night? You think they'll rotate?
I don't know, because Blues Traveler, I guess, has played Red Rocks on 4th of July for like 20 years.
Oh, okay.
So that's their headline show, but as they tour, maybe they'll rotate. I don't know.
Copy.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, over the weekend, I did two things, really. It was pretty pretty slow and mellow, which was great. I read a bunch. I finished Adrian Newey's How to Build a Car, which I read like the first few chapters of like a year ago. And then it's a big, thick, heavy, it's like a textbook. It isn't, but it feels like one in your hands. Mm-hmm. And I went on some trip and I was like, I'm not carrying this to Europe. And I just forgot about it. So I finished that, which is an amazing book and everyone should read it. You should read it.
I'll borrow it, yeah.
And you don't have to understand much about engineering to like it, although it helps if you do understand some like fairly basic engineering concepts. And it's really not like, it's called How to Build a Car. It's his autobiography up until about, I don't know, the year like maybe 2018 or 2019.
Wow.
And so obviously some things have happened since then. So it's not complete, but it's each chapter, it's like how to build whatever the car was he was building during the period of his life.
Got it.
And it's a pretty cool way to like categorize your whole life because it's like, here's the challenges I was having at work, and like here's how those challenges at work like rolled into my like personal life also. And like they always did. Like, and everything in his personal life was like kind of like this reflection of like what was happening at work.
Wow.
And so, each chapter it's how to build a, the McLaren, whatever this, how to build a Williams FW this, how to build this. So it's a great book.
Got it. So he joined Red Bull in 2006.
Yeah.
So it's like half or more than half of it covers more than half of his Red Bull time as well.
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
It covers like almost all of the Red Bull time up until, it's... Yeah,
cool.
I think it's still, it holds up, even though it was written a few years ago. Definitely recommend that. And I rode that thing, the Can-Am Pulse. So
we talked a little bit about it last show.
Briefly.
So how has your extended time been?
Okay.
Could you make it to Malibu and back?
Yes,
okay.
I could. Now, okay, I made it when I left the house, full charge. It said 48 miles to empty indicated on the gauge. The funny thing about this is they advertise this as a 100-mile range. So already, I guess starting because I'm fat, right? So the problem with electric motorcycles, specifically electric motorcycles versus electric cars or any other thing, is the weight, size, and shape of the rider matters so much in terms of aerodynamic efficiency. So if you could get 100 miles out of this thing at the very perfect speed, which I think I found, the most efficient speed, if you had the most efficient rider in the most efficient clothing, full leathers and like a
jockey. You need a jockey.
Yes, you have a jockey. I think it is possible to get this thing to go 100 miles.
I wish I knew this, but if let's say the jockey is 130 pounds.
Yeah.
If you double the weight of the rider, do you cut the range in half? Is that the mathematical formula?
Guys, we got to take a quick break for Rula. I go to therapy every week, right? That's what Rula is. Rula is about therapy. This is going to be an ad about therapy. And as you're going to hear in this podcast later, I talk about having a panic attack while driving again. And so therapy over the last 20 years has been incredibly helpful for me, right? And the problems with therapy still exist, particularly if you don't have a therapist and need to find a new one. And now there's all these online therapy places. The problem with them is that most won't take your insurance. And I know this because my in-person therapist moved to remote and I now do it over Zoom, and they stopped taking insurance because of it. But now there is Rula. Rula is here. They do things differently. They partner with over 100 insurance plans, making the average copay just $15 per session. Real therapy from licensed professionals at a price that actually makes sense. Think about it. You use your insurance benefits to maintain your physical health. Why wouldn't you do the same for your mental health? And Rula isn't just affordable. The experience is tailored around you. Other online therapy platforms might match you with the first available provider, whether or not they're the right fit. Rula considers your goals, preferences, and background to provide you a curated list of licensed in-network therapists who are actually aligned with what you need, because they know that finding the right therapist can make all the difference. There's no waiting lists, no frustrating back and forth. Rula makes it easy to find a mental health provider who's accepting new patients, and appointments are available as soon as tomorrow. Plus, Rula sticks with you throughout your journey, checking in to make sure that your care is helping you move forward. So go to rula.com/tire to get started today. That's RULA.com/tire for quality therapy that's covered by insurance. Rula.com/tire. And support is also coming in hot today from Quince. Look at me. I don't chase trends. I'm about stuff that fits right, feels good, and lasts. That's why my jeans were expensive, but I buy them every 5 years. And you can tell by watching our podcast on video, as does my wardrobe. And that's why I am loving this Quince. The lightweight layers and high-quality staples have become everyday essentials. Quince I just got it. It came in the other day. This corduroy jacket, I'm telling you, mark my words, it fits so nice. You are going to be seeing me wearing it on repeat every episode this fall. They've got breathable flow knit polos, crisp cotton shirts, and lightweight pants that somehow work for weekend hangs and dressed up dinners. And the best part is everything about Quince is half the cost of similar brands. By working directly with top artisans and cutting out the middlemen, Quince gives you luxury pieces without the markups. Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices and premium fabrics and finishes. And I'm telling you, again, the corduroy jacket and the linen shirt they sent me both feel awesome. And if they were like twice the price on Abbott Kinney in Venice, I would not have been surprised. It's so comfortable. It's just too hot. I actually picked it up in my closet today, and then I went, yeah, you know what? It's going to be 80 degrees. I probably don't need to wear this jacket today. So stick to the staples that last with elevated essentials from Quince. Go to quince.com/tire for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/tire. Free shipping, 365-day returns, quince.com/tire. And now back to the show. I don't know, and there was nothing on the bike to indicate that it has some kind of a weight sensor on it.
No, just like, I'm wondering if someone's listening, put in the comments, like physics-wise, if you double the weight of the cargo on this motorcycle, and it depends on the efficiency of a motorcycle and the tires and all that shit, but it seems like...
So when you're accelerating, the weight matters. Mm-hmm. When you're going at sustained speed, the aerodynamics matter more than the weight. So it depends on the answer to your question lies in what kind of riding are you doing. So anyway, here's the story. I woke up with 48 miles on a full charge, okay, indicated. From my house to the Country Mart is 22 miles, 22.0 exactly. And it's about a mile or so from my house to the highway. It's, I don't want to be too specific, but it's like between 8 and 10 miles on the highway, and the remainder of it is on the Pacific Coast Highway, which as of right now is limited and heavily enforced at a 35 mile an hour speed limit. And heavily enforced. I must have seen 25 CHPs out there. Now, they will let you get away with 40, especially if you're on a silent motorcycle. And you smile and you wave. 40 seems acceptable, but there's other places, it really makes you realize, because the full lanes are open, but some of the shoulders are closed. Obviously, everyone's staring at the burned out structures because they're tourists and whatever. But it really blows up any arguments that you really have to go faster on PCH, because at a really constant 35, it takes the same amount of time. So once you get to PCH, you're holding 35, 40. So on the gauge cluster, which if you click over a couple of, I think the very second to last slide on this Instagram here, that's a different. That's not the actual screen you see while riding. That's a screen I just pulled up to show. The screen while riding on the right side of it shows a miles per kilowatt hour. So this thing has an 8.9 kilowatt hour battery, and it weighs 340 pounds. And I am at a svelte, for me, 260 pounds. So at riding around town, I'm seeing like 5 miles to kilowatt hours, which means like 45-mile range, which is how I had been riding the bike around LA light to light.
Right.
When I get to the highway, I'm seeing like between 5 and 7. So like, okay, maybe. And then on the on PCH at like 35 to 40, pretty constant, I'm seeing like 10.
Oh.
Right? So if I were somehow able to just pull out of my driveway and go 35 miles an hour exactly, I could probably get this thing to like 85 miles.
Right. Okay. So that's the magic speed. It's before aero really comes into play.
Yes.
But
above where your weight inhibits your acceleration from a dig.
And it's just less efficient at low speed. Okay. That's interesting. I wonder if that's how they calculate these things.
I mean, I don't know how the EPA, because I don't think motorcycles have fuel efficiency ratings. They certainly most don't have any kind of emissions controls really at all. So I don't know if there's a standard. It's just on their website. It just says range whatever, 100 miles. So that's the range bit. So I was able to get to, and if you show that screen, that last screen on Instagram there is when I plugged it in when I got back to my house. So when I got back to my house after riding 44 miles on a couple miles of surface streets, about 40% 20% surface street, 40% highway, 40% PCH. I ended up at 25% battery. With 14 miles remaining. So that means, in theory, I could get 66 miles riding like that.
Okay.
Which is not 100.
Yeah.
and I certainly wasn't riding in a particularly sporty manner. I never exceeded 75 on the highway, and I really was not goosing it except for maybe once or twice. So, it's great for like running around short distances, right? So it rides really nicely, actually. It feels lighter than 340 pounds would suggest. I was surprised when I saw that number. I would have thought it was something that started with a 2. It has this really cool feature where you twist the throttle forward away from you, which applies regen as a brake.
Yeah.
Like it has a 3-setting like auto regen. So when you lift the throttle, no, 1, low or high, right? But then it's like extra regen if you twist the throttle forward, which does line up with your inertia when you're braking. But if you use that as like your brakes, you can extend the range, meaningfully in the city.
I think that's very cool.
I think that's a fun use of electricity.
Yeah.
And just the suspension isn't like super sporty, but it's firm. It's great. I think for running around locally, it's fun. I hope they have a good cargo box option, because it would actually, after a couple days riding it, I was like, oh, I would probably swap the Vespa for this. I could get as far as I need to go, and then I looked up the price, and it's like $13,500.
Yeah.
And the problem is I keep trying these electric things, and I keep going, oh, these things would be great in the city, but the value proposition is just never there. It's never even close.
That's a lot of money. You can get a lot of new motorcycle for that money, right? And then if you get into the used market, a little bit, like
Dude,
the
you
world's
can get
oyster.
a monster for within $1,000. A monster within $1,000 cheaper than this.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. You can get so much of our complaints with new cars is like, oh, the sound goes away because the engines are getting smaller. But like, you can get a Ducati, which sounds amazing. I think like you can get a lot of different musical notes and have that experience, and it costs you less money, and the gas is so cheap.
With the problem with electric motorcycles is that even the highest performance gas motorcycles are still very efficient. And they're not only very efficient in fuel economy, they're very efficient in performance. They're assuming you're not worried about the safety aspect of a motorcycle versus a car. The amount of performance, the amount of efficiency, and the amount of practicality you get out of any gas-powered motorcycle is absurdly good compared to any gas-powered car. And motorcycles are cheap. Great motorcycles are cheap. And if you're talking about urban practicality, my Vespa 300 smokes everything. Everything. 2 cargo boxes, 70 miles a gallon, highway speeds, ABS traction control, water-cooled engine, USB ports. Dude, my Vespa is going to cost me, over the life of it, I guarantee my Vespa cost me less than $1,000.
A Ducati Hypermotard starts at $13,000.
Yeah.
And choose your upright sitting, non-race replica motorcycle, and they're all around that price. And and the range is much further. Yeah.
It's a bummer because what sucks is the electric motorcycles are really fun. Like if my Vespa is like flying a little Piper Cub airplane and a Ducati is like flying a fighter jet, this is like flying a glider. It's just this like, that's rad.
Yeah.
And being able to do something different with the electricity, with the invert, the regen controller on the throttle, like, that's really fun. That big display can do full CarPlay. So like that display, I didn't do it because I didn't give a shit enough. But like you can make a full like Waze or display on that, which is pretty helpful while driving.
Did you ride it at night at all? Was the display at all distracting or bright?
No, it flips.
Okay.
Yeah, it's still a black display, but it's pretty. The black is pretty black.
Cool. Okay.
And I didn't find it to be problematic.
For people listening, it's wide. I mean, that's like, what is it, 7-inch wide screen?
Yeah, it's like an iPad mini, basically.
You know what? That screen looks almost as big as the one on like the Mazda CX-50, or Mazda has like those narrow screens on the top of the dash. It's like that.
Yeah. But honestly, I find the overall experience of riding it to be extremely pleasant. Like, if there was, not in this administration, but if there was like tax credits, $2,500, $3,000. If this thing was like $89.99 or something like that, and the dealer made you like a little bit on the back end, you walk out the door for $8,000, I'm in. I'm totally in, because this thing rips. Like it does 0 to 60 in under 4 seconds for sure. It will do wheelies. Absolutely will do wheelies. It cruises very comfortably at 85 miles an hour. It's clearly electronically limited to 85 miles an hour and could go faster. It's very well composed on the highway. Like, generally, it's nice. And like, I don't actually need a motorcycle to go. Like, I wouldn't go hit the canyons in it. It's a run around town thing. Same as my Vespa. As long as they make a really good cargo box on the back, because it's got to be able to carry shit. I got 2 bags of groceries or a 12-pack. It's got to be able to go in there.
Right.
But, excuse me. But like, I hope companies don't give up on this because the value proposition isn't there yet, because they're really fun. They're a good time.
It's probably hard because, they have to amortize the cost, right? So if way more people bought them, maybe costs would come down.
Yeah.
But, you can see in the comments, a lot of people who might ride Cora rides a lot. They're just like, these are really expensive. The specs aren't great. The price of them is really high. And that hurts the take rate, because the difference is like EV cars have usable range. And I think you get something from a lot of EVs that you can't get at that price. Like a Rivian is as fast as most supercars.
Yeah.
at least 0 to 60 wise, and it handles as good as some supercars from the 90s and early 2000s. So you get this amazing performance at a lower, or Tesla Model 3 performance. Like, you get all that go, and it also is a really convenient thing. This is like not as fast as a fast motorcycle, doesn't have great range. Like it doesn't have a lot of the attributes an EV car gets.
It would be a fantastic commuter tool. Like if I had a commute, like a legit 10, 12-mile commute, this would be great. Just perfect. Or if you could, you charge it at work, whatever. But it's hard, it's a very narrow window of who this thing works for, at that price.
Did you, because you've driven a lot of EVs, you've owned EVs, so I think you're a good person to pitch this to, because you go, I like the propulsion. Now if someone's coming into this without having an EV experience, do you think they will miss the sound of a motorcycle engine, or is it quiet and is that more relaxing the same way we feel when we get out of an EV versus an ICE car?
Like I'm saying, like it's like flying a glider. Like I would hope, and it's probably not true, but I would hope that people are not so set in their ways that they wouldn't be at least willing to try a new experience. And like, I think that, with motorcycles, people who like motorcycles, often they get a kind of a bunch of them. They're smaller, they're a little less expensive. You can fit 4 or 5 of them in the space of a car. And so if you only like Harleys, or you only like Ducatis, or you only like a specific type of thing, like, okay, but like the people that I know who collect motorcycles tend to go a little of this, a little of that, a little of that. It's an opportunity to have each motorcycle for what your mood is. And like, I think those kind of people that have 5 or 6 bikes would find a good use for, an electric bike. Folks, we got to take one more quick break for FitBod. Now listen, whether you're hitting a plateau, bored with your workout routine, new to fitness, FitBod sets you up with a custom workout plan tailored to your finish goals. Now, some people are able to get a personal trainer, right? And that personal trainer is going to work with you to fit their workout around your goals. FitBod does that exact thing, right? It makes working out easier because you don't have to think, you don't have to remember, you don't have to push yourself. It will push you. It's like having a personal trainer in your pocket. FitBod can customize a workout really fast based on your goals like weight loss, recovery, targeting a specific muscle group. The app can help you stay focused and get a better workout. You make the workout, you could dial up or down the intensity. It's unbelievable. And even if you do have a personal trainer at home, you can work out more consistently while traveling and track your workouts better with FitBod. So FitBod will create a personalized workout routine for you based on your goals. The workouts then adapt to your growth, so each workout is challenging. FitBod will track your muscle recovery. It's fine-tuned by experienced, certified personal trainers. And you can get customized fitness plans that work with you, plus over 1,000 demonstration videos to make sure your technique is spot on. So get in shape this summer with FitBod. Join FitBod today to get your personalized workout plan. 25% off your subscription, or try the app for free for 7 days at fitbod.me/tire. That's FITBOD.me/tire. fitbod.me/tire. And now back to the show.
Someone asked a question that I want to know. What's the charging situation? Like, do you have a plug that you carry around with you?
No. So it is a... Sorry, 1 second. There's none of those things were that important, but also when I went down there, a person was delivering a car. So brick and mortar, folks, brick and mortar. But that was not algorithmic. It didn't. The algorithm didn't feed me that car because of my previous tastes. A customer who paid just dropped it off.
Oh, right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just ran up and down the stairs twice, so forgive me. The charging question. So, okay, charging. If you flip back to the photo that shows the right side of the bike, other side there. Okay. You'll see above the yellow bit at the bottom, basically right where my right hamstring would be.
There's a door.
There's a little door.
Yeah.
And actually, now that you mention it, my only real gripe with this bike from a quality perspective is that door. It's very much the kind of plastic that you would find on like a cubby for like a razor or something. And considering how often you have to charge this bike, which is basically every single time you use it, I think that door is a little chintzy, and that may become problematic.
It'll get looser and looser.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
because it's just like a plastic little pop tab.
It's a little
not
pressure
a latch.
tab. Yeah, okay.
It's not an actual latch. It's just a little tab, and I'm like, I don't know how long that's lasting, but probably not long enough. So that pulls up what you would call the level 2 charger, destination CCS charge, not CCS. J177, blah, blah, whatever. My Porsche Taycan's home charger fits into that.
Got it.
And then it takes about 90 minutes to charge from like 15% to full, which is not quite as fast as I'd like.
It's not. So if you're out for a ride and even you got to plan this charging stop, like you got to have lunch.
Yeah, and
it's not like
there's no
like
DC
driving.
fast charger. You can't plug into a DC. So.
Okay.
The onboard charger for the bike is not that fast. The LiveWire, I think, has a more powerful onboard charger, but it's also heavier and more expensive.
So you really, if you buy one of these, you really want to have like an out and back situation, like charge at home, go for a ride, commute.
Well, look,
here's
the thing. You could do if you had, for instance, you can probably order from Can-Am like a portable charger. And if you, I don't know, depending on your commuting situation, you could get like a level 1 portable charger for like your office and plug it in while you're at work on a level 1, and that would give you enough range to get back home if your commute was like 30 or 40 miles. If your commute's 30, 40 miles, this is not the motorcycle for you, by the way. There's no fairing. There's no windshield. If you're riding fucking 80 miles a day, you should have a windshield on your motorcycle.
Yes.
Otherwise, like, what's wrong with you? So anyway, that's the charging situation. You do not, at least as far, to my understanding, there isn't a cable that you carry around with you. And there really isn't, in the photo, on top of what, I guess, looks like a fuel tank, but is not a fuel tank. On top of that, you can see there's like a pop-up cover. Mm-hmm. In that is like a cubby that would basically fit the bike registration, your phone, and your wallet. Like, and that's pretty much all. Maybe a pair of sunglasses, but you're not fitting a charge cable in there.
Well, it looks like I'm on the website, and the only charger they reference or have a link to is to install one at your home through a company called Wallbox.
Yeah.
So there's no like take this with you kind of thing.
So,
but you can get a big cargo box.
Yeah, but you could also, you can buy on Amazon if you want. Like I hate to like plug Amazon, but you can get a generic but quality level 1 home charger, just like a generic but quality level 2 home charger, like what I have. Like mine is like, what is mine? I can't remember what it is, but it's like a fairly high end, but like not affiliated with automaker.
Got it.
When I literally ordered it on Amazon. Yeah. Oh, cool. Oh, the top. Holy shit.
It's a big box.
So that's nuts. So the problem with that is you can't kick your leg over that. Like you have to stand on the peg and then stand and you know what I mean, like a horse.
You'd step through it or step over the seat. Which,
that's a high step.
Yeah,
that's a high step without being able to kick your leg back, because that's mounted on where the quote passenger seat would be. It's not hanging off the back of that.
Yeah, because this furthest rear part, I don't know how strong that is. That just might be like a mud deflector fender thing.
Yeah.
Really, that just holds your license plate and your blinkers.
Dude, nothing comes close to the Vespa when it comes to running errands around town, dude. Nothing.
Because the Vespa box is mounted further rear, right?
Yeah, it's mounted aft of the back seat. So you can still have two people and the box, and then you have an under-seat box also. So, like, if I'm not storing groceries, and I hate to fucking harp about my awesome Vespa, but, like, it's better at this than everything. Like, and I got it used for $5,000. Like, a year old with 3-digit mileage under warranty. So, like, I can, when I go, I have my jacket, my gloves, my sunglasses, my helmet. My helmet, my gloves, and my sunglasses fit in the cargo box with plenty of room to spare. And my jacket, one fold, fits under the seat. And now I'm just wearing normal clothes where I am. And everything's locked.
Yeah. That's great.
Beat that. Anybody beat that. Without, like, some giant, like, chunky shit on the bike that takes away from your cargo space.
Sure,
takes away from your
this thing
person
has.
space.
Where's this doo-doo? There's this graphic. Yeah, I mean, where your storage is in the Vespa is like filled with lithium ion down in here, right?
Yeah, well, that's where my legs would go on the Vespa. The
That's a good
storage
point,
is
yeah.
the black bit behind
Right
it,
here.
really. Yeah,
Oh, there's the plug too. Yeah.
that's where the plug is. Yeah, so, yeah, it's not a very fast charger. It just said from 20 to 80% in 50 minutes. Like, that's not very good.
It's not.
The live wire was faster, but
it's like with so many EV things. Like, all right, you have to plan your ride now. So if you ride in Malibu, you plug it in. You go, I'm going to hang out. Like, we know you're going to have a coffee. You know you're going to have lunch, something like that. But you can't go, I'm just going to keep moving down the 5 to ride to Santa Cruz as quickly as possible.
And look, a lot of people who complain about not being able to go on a road trip on their motorcycle will never go on a road trip on their motorcycle. They just want the option. You know what I mean? I really hope they don't give up on these things because they are fun. And I still have it for another, like, 3 weeks. I have this thing for a month. I'm just talking about it now because it was a light weekend. I rode it a bunch.
Yeah, perfect.
So I did the experiment I wanted to do. If I couldn't get to Malibu and back, which is a completely reasonable thing to do on any recreational type thing.
Sure.
Like 44 fucking miles, I can't, you know what I mean? If I would have been so annoyed if I couldn't have done that. But, like, the fact that I was like, all right, cool. Like, I can do that. Like, I can pretty much get anywhere I need to go in the city, you know. So, all right, cool. Thank you for letting me have a go, even though I'm going to continue having to go. And by the way, the EV powertrain in this thing is made by Rotax.
Okay.
There's Rotax. You can see the branding on it. On that page you just had up, had branding on it. But you can see it here, too, actually. It's on the side of the bike. Right above the yellow bit, that white writing says Rotax EV on it. So, like, presumably, maybe they'll license the technology or the powertrains to other manufacturers.
And that might bring cost down a little bit.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Did you see this accident at the Nurburgring? Everyone's okay.
No.
But it's been
really bad?
Well, it's an interesting crash.
Okay.
People are talking about. So the reason people are discussing it, there's a Porsche that's making a pass on the left side of an M2.
Okay.
Two things about it. The crash caused a big fireball, which is rare for a new car.
Sure.
Again, everyone's all right. But the discussion, I'm curious what your take is who is at fault in this pass in this moment?
Okay.
So,
and we have good enough coverage to, you think, make an accurate judgment?
Definitely.
Okay.
We definitely do.
All right,
'Cause
cool.
We've got helmet cam from the Porsche.
Okay, cool.
And so
All right, let's see. So
I'll keep
Porsche's
audio
going
off.
real quick. All right. Coming up on the M2. M2 moves right. Porsche goes by. Oh, God damn it, dude. That... back it up to that. That's a fucking nasty wreck, man.
yeah,
Wow.
full brake caliper,
Okay,
control
here.
arms
Yeah,
off.
go. Oh, that's the shot we need. Because I actually want to see. You can see it from that camera.
Yeah.
Where the M2. Yeah. Okay. In my opinion, the M2 driver is at fault because look where. Okay, where was the Porsche when the M2
Turned in?
started to turn in?
not quite alongside. Front of Porsche might be at M2 door.
Yeah. Maybe not.
I think M2 driver should have seen that Porsche in the side mirrors. Like that's a skill, is paying attention to what's behind you when you're on a track. But I feel like they should have known they were there.
So here's the thing. It's funny that this accident happened just like this. This happened to me. This not at the Nurburgring, at Streets of Willow, but this exact thing happened to me, and I was the Porsche. Okay. In that incident, and it was a regular track day on a regular track. It was not, as the video says, tourist day at Nurburgring. That's a little different. That's not a track day. So, rightfully or wrongfully, whatever, I didn't dispute, from the minute it happened, I claimed responsibility for it. I said that was my fault. It was not clear, even though it was open passing session. It looked like they were moving right for me to get by, but they weren't moving right for me to get by. That's kind of just where the line was.
Which I think was what the M2 did. The M2 moved out right, and then for people listening, it's a left-hand turn. It's a big, long one. But then they start coming in towards the apex, and they push the Porsche up onto the curb, and then it all goes real south.
And fortunately, when it happened to me, the hit was very, very small. And I literally wrote the guy a check and apologized, and we walked away friends. I think it cost me $1,000. And I wrote about it. This was not a secret. I wrote about it. It was when I did the Evora GT 5 track days in 7 days.
Did that? Okay.
Yeah. And by the way, that was like track day number 3, and I kept going. That was a tough motherfucking car. That car was awesome. But point being, what happened was the guy appeared to be moving right, and because I was so much faster, the other car was an S2000. I had way more horsepower. It looked like I was able to get by, but he wasn't lifting. It wasn't he wasn't a point by and a lift. I was just faster, so I was like, okay, go. But he had no clue I was there. So that's where I come to the Nurburgring. In the Nurburgring, even though the overtaking car does have the responsibility to be safe, I think on tourist days, it's the responsibility for the other car to keep right and to know that faster traffic is approaching. And so it's a little murkier to me on a tourist day.
It's a little muddy because, if you go F1 rules, it's like, was Porsche alongside enough?
Well, that's the thing.
In the F1,
track day, I would say it's probably the Porsche's fault. But tourist day is different from track day. Tourist days, you're taught explicitly to keep right. You're not taught to run the racing line unless nobody's around. You're supposed to know if traffic's approaching from behind and keep fucking right.
Yeah. And I, as someone I haven't done a ton of track stuff, but enough, especially with like Lemons, the speed at which this Porsche came up on the car, I know would pop into the rearview mirror field of view of the M2. Like, it's going to be empty, and then suddenly there's a thing, and it should draw your eye to that moment. It's not like they were there for a minute, and you kind of get lulled into this Porsche staying behind me, and then they go for it. I mean, this guy was coming up fast, so I feel like they should have seen that car. It's a bad situation, but it's been discussed quite a lot.
Here, I feel like here, if I'm in the Porsche, that M2 is pretty far to the right.
Yeah.
I'm going to feel
body language of
M2 says I'm opening the door for you.
I agree.
And so it would be a big ass fucking surprise when over crest they come down for a late apex, and there you are.
And for people listening, the M2 almost pit maneuvers this Porsche,
but from the front. From the back. Play it again from here. I've already forgotten.
It's next to him.
Oh no, he hits the back. He hits the rear fender. Yeah.
And then they both get sent. They both get sent into the Armco.
That's a holy shit.
It's a really hard hit, and they're going fast. They're well over 100 miles.
What does that say?
Hour.
164.
I think. He's at 192 kilometers per hour.
They're humming.
120 miles per hour right as contact happens. Yeah.
And so the Porsche thought they had the line, but really the M2 was just taking a late apex and didn't even know he was there.
Yeah, and
God,
Porsche,
that's shitty.
I don't know if the Porsche chose to go up on curbing or pushed and was like, oh shit, they're coming over, and the M2 just kept coming.
Wow.
Yeah,
that sucks. God, what a big hit.
Huge hit.
And wait, wow.
Porsche flies up in the air, wing comes off, fireball.
Fireball.
I honestly watching this.
Everyone lived?
Yeah, they're all fine. Otherwise, I wouldn't have put this up there.
Wow, that's nuts.
And they're out of it, but like watching this made me want to get a new car because my car wouldn't handle that hit as well.
Yeah,
and my car's got side airbags and stuff, but you see shit like this.
It's not a guarantee, but
it's not a guarantee.
Those are two very safely designed cars. Wow, that passenger compartment in the M2 is incredibly intact.
Yeah,
that's
exactly
crazy.
Every airbag. The thing looks like they put down curtains to sleep. I mean, all the windows are covered by airbags.
I don't know. I think there's wow. The front of that Porsche is literally gone
all the way to the firewall.
But then the back of it looks pretty good.
Well, I guess the fuel tank's in the front, right?
Yeah.
So that's what blew up and got ripped
it
off.
right off. Yeah, that's crazy. Glad they're
scary
okay.
stuff.
That's fucking nuts. I think it's a little murkier on the Nurburgring. On a track day, unfortunately, that is the Porsche driver's fault.
For going for the spot.
Yeah, for it being, a place to overtake without enough room and without a point buy.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, that sucks.
Nurburgring, man, it's just a tricky because there are so many the tourist days. There are a huge variety of cars and drivers, and they're all. I mean, it's like lemons. There's fast shit, slow shit, good people, bad people, everything in between.
It's very wild stuff. Okay, wow.
Yeah,
that's crazy. So I have some fun news. I have been upgraded. I've been upgraded to premium economy. Originally, the plan was to tow the Manx to Pebble with a Cayenne. But my Hail Mary has come through, and I have procured the only Bentley Bentayga press vehicle in America equipped with a tow package.
Wow.
And
fantastic.
So we will have a British Racing Green Satin over Cumbrian Green Diamond Quilt Mulliner specification interior in order to tow with. So that will be a good time. So we will be able. We've been invited to display the entire rig together at Motorlux on Wednesday night.
Really?
Yeah.
That makes so much sense. Honest to God, if you had a Cayenne, they'd be like, "No, thank you."
I wouldn't have even asked.
Yeah.
I as soon as I fucking got this, I called Art. I was like, dude, we got to do it. He's
Can
like,
I guess the MSRP? I haven't seen this sheet.
This one.
Does it have
So it's not a speed. It's not a hybrid.
So the regular
This is the
Bentayga
V8.
starts at 207.
This
one.
Wait, no. This is a black edition.
All right, let's see what that starts at.
I have it. That starts at 262.
262?
Yeah.
All right. So this is green, a fancy green satin.
It's a fancy green
Mulliner
satin.
interior.
Mulliner interior. Do you want to know what other big ticket items they have?
Yeah.
And not how much they cost. It has LED welcome lamps, the tow package, jeweled fuel and oil filler caps.
I can't wait to see those.
Rear acoustic privacy glass, sports pedals, mood lighting, Bang & Olufsen's stereo.
That's probably like 10.
The satin paint. So here's one, 4+1 seat configuration. Now, does that mean it's a 5-seater, that it's a bench and not captain's chairs?
Yeah.
So it's an optional bench rather than captain's chairs?
It's probably like those molded buckets,
Yeah.
but there's a bridge in the middle and the back.
Okay, so that we got that.
Is the paint
precision diamond quilt specification and self-leveling wheel badge by Mulliner.
Oh, so it stays upright, the B.
Which I've said in other Bentley reviews is by far the best value in all Bentley options. It's shockingly cheap
It looks cool.
for how awesome it is.
It's like $800.
It's less.
Wow.
Yeah, it's by far the best value in Bentley.
Can I guess the paint cost? I'm going to go with over 10, but less than 20.
Yes.
All right, so it's like 16?
Less.
No, 12.5.
Close.
Okay. Stereo.
Oh, you don't have to go option by option.
I just want to do those two.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Is the stereo a standalone option or is it a part of a package?
It's a standalone.
Or is this like 19 speaker shit?
Doesn't say. Bang & Olufsen for
All right,
Bentley.
I think
what it
8.
says. Close.
Okay. All right, so total this thing's probably $348.
No. Actually, despite what we've just said, this is a relatively low option vehicle, believe it or not. It has only $39,875 in options on it, and the total is $306,725. Wow. But if you ask me, it looks like $1 million.
I was going to say this just sounds.
It does.
It sounds like 5 to 6.
It sounds like someone has chosen the options for this with a real eye towards fucking greatest hits.
Cool.
Yeah. But satin green, towing, sparkly blue. It's
great.
It's going to look insane.
No, it's good. You're going to the place where Bentley goes, yeah, we want to show that this can tow stuff around because that's who's there. Yeah, cool. That's cool.
And by the way, we're going to unload it after we're driving up Wednesday. The party's Wednesday, so I have to just make a swing by the house, throw my luggage down, and then drive straight to the event and load it in. And then unload it for the tour the next morning after the party. So it'll be a hectic day.
But at least you don't have to unload the Manx and then load it, or you just...
Yeah, no. We only have to unload it once
and
then load it up again at the end of the weekend. So that is very, very exciting.
Cool.
Shout out to for Bentley. And I mean, I'm going to write a story for Road and Track about towing with the Bentley. By the way, we're going to have to figure out the logistics of some car-to-car still photography, Zach. Ali can come in handy with that.
For what?
For
car-to-car?
We have to get car-to-car
no problem.
of the tow.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Right.
What we really need is a Manx leading your towing Manx because it's open air.
Everyone will be there.
I'll lean out of a car.
There's going to be 7 Manxes up there.
Ali, you know what's going to be funny? Ali will bring his Evo, and I'll be just trying to get a still photo of this car.
Something funny. Okay, do we want to talk about something that's kind of funny or kind of depressing?
Let's go funny because I showed a car accident.
Okay.
Let's save the depressing thing.
There's a thing I've been seeing repeatedly on the internet that is sort of funny, which is people trying to say that people who do our jobs don't really know what we're talking about because they have X car and get used to X feature that we complain about.
Sure.
And I think that is funny to me because you getting used to it doesn't mean it doesn't suck.
I think there's both can be true. I think there's times where we say we've called it out where we go, this is a journalist problem. Mm-hmm. I wasn't familiar with that control, found it. But then there's stuff where
where the company changes the car.
No, where people will go, I got used to it. You go, yeah, but all of its competitors do this in a way that is simpler to use or easier or whatever. Yeah. And it can be less convoluted to control. And so I think that's an instance where that person is just like, I got used to wearing a flip-flop and a hiking boot and it's fine. Like, sure, but other places sell you 2 shoes that match.
It made me chuckle that people don't put that together. I mean, I guess most people do put that together, and we try to be honest about those types of things when you can. But it's weird when the second half of that sentence, the one I saw this morning, was they prefer to read owner reviews. Someone who owns a car and then reviews it, which is weird because that brings other sorts of problems. You don't have the journalist problem of you only got to use this car for a week and didn't really settle in with it. But the other problem is sunk cost and things like that.
Bias,
bias that which I see way, way more. I read some of these owner reviews sometimes, and I see way more apologizing for shittiness in their own car than I see journalists mistakenly calling features bad that were actually good.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. It's that trait of not wanting to be wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, without going into the main topic of that, like there's a lot of situations where that arises, and I think it's a rare gem when you find an owner who goes, I own this car, and here's what I don't like about it, and they're very forthright. I think most people want to tell everyone, like, hey, this thing was awesome, either because it makes them feel correct, or they want more people to join the club because they like the car enough, and then they'll kind of minimize the problems that they're dealing with. Sure.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Maybe I thought that would be better radio this morning. Never mind. Okay. Rarely do we have big stinkers, but that was one.
It was a stinker. Just like this makes sense. I understand. I understand where you're coming from.
We'll go to the people. How about we do that? The people they continue to speak. Of course, we forgot to talk about our shows in Texas. Come see us. Grab tickets now. Zach, where have we put the ticket links? On our Instagram link in bio?
Go to Instagram link in bio.
And do we put them in the show notes for these week's shows? We've very much...
also that.
July 24th in Houston, July 25th in Dallas. We are going to be there live with Christian James Hand. We are getting some exclusive merch for Nino is making our concert poster. I sent him some very silly photographs of myself last night in order to hopefully turn into some sort of Hunter Thompson-like monstrosity for our show. And it's going to be a good time. Christian's excited. We are all excited.
Cool.
It's going to be fun. Right. But the Patreon, of course, is where you get the show early. It's where you get the show alive. In fact, you get it like now. Like you're looking at now, sir, if you're a Patreon, if you're one of like, I don't know however many people are here now. It's where you get exclusive early access to collabs. It's where you get the show without ads, and it's where you get extra show. All of those things can happen at patreon.com/thesmokingtirepodcast. And let's get to some of those Patreon questions. Disillusioned in Detroit says, watch Nerdery. Did you see the new winder that Timex made with the New Yorker for the 100th anniversary? I didn't, and Zach will pull it up right now. And I think that's a very cute little watch. It's a Timex Marlin with. I mean, I don't know what that dial is actually made of. It does look like porcelain, but something tells me at $249 it isn't. But if you really like the New Yorker, I think that's kind of cute.
I do too.
Yeah, kind of into it. I think it would be really fun if you took that and like sent it to like the homie, the dial artist, and had him like go to town coloring it in a fun way.
Oh yeah,
that could be cool.
Sure. I like the little comic drawing. I mean, that's my favorite part about the New Yorker.
If you are on a tight budget, Timex makes a fine quality watch. Their GMTs and shit are like real dope for $200. Explorer ST says, are we going to the Audrain this year? We're not going to the Concours in October. We haven't been invited to the veteran tour yet. I hope they invite us again. It's certainly a good time. But we'll see. No plans right now. Turd Ferguson is looking for value in his car and is looking at Miatas, but then shifted to Z3s and then M Roadsters and now on to S2000s. What are your thoughts on value for roadstering? If you fit in an S2000, they are a good time. And they're very well made. And I mean, they're all like the newest one is 20 years old now almost, right? But they have a good supportive community and they're well made. And there's a bunch of like low mile ones out there still. I don't know about high mile ones, if they have a lot of needs, but
I don't know. I'm not sure. Like they're fun and they're special.
S52 M Roadsters and M Coupes are unloved, but are, I think, really nice cars to drive. Yeah,
and I drove one that had mild suspension stuff done, and it made it feel a lot lighter and more fun. I think that's a better like do everything car. It can be fast, and it also can have grand touring ability. Whereas the S2000 is light, loud, high rev, all that stuff.
I think the Z3 will have a little better insulation on the top, stuff like that. It might. I don't have a lot of miles on Z3 Roadsters with the top up, but I think they're a little better insulated than Miatas or S2000s. I mean, also like, don't don't rule out Boxsters. I mean, Boxsters, I think if you're going to talk about an M Roadster, you should talk about a Boxster. I mean, yeah, the engine's in the middle, not in front, but it's seats too, modest power, very high on the engagement level, convertible, competes in all them competitions in the 2000s that the magazines were doing were like Boxster, S2000, like that. It was all of them, I don't fit in S2000s, so I don't like them. But they have great shifters, really good shifters. Wait. Oh, super fast.
Super fast.
That's how you pronounce that. You must say it with lisp. An Altima drive. Wait, what? Oh, this is
hypothetical.
This is hypothetical. I couldn't. This seemed like a news item.
When
to
I
me.
read it, I thought the same thing.
Okay, and maybe when I read it, you'll hear it this way too. An Altima driver just won the lottery and drove through the dealership showroom wall. Which, let's just game that out for a second. If you really did win the lottery and you drove an Altima, and a dealership like fucked you, you might be like, I'm buying a window today.
I'm returning this car. And you lose all your winnings, you get sued. Yeah.
Yeah, like in
a guy did that last year or earlier this year in the Subaru. He was pissed off.
I don't think he won the lottery, though.
No. He won a court case, but he returned his car.
If that guy, the billionaire in L.A. who won the fucking Powerball, Edwin, whatever his name is, if he did it, that would be legendary. Because in the movies, like, heroes do that all the time.
Yeah, and there's no repercussions.
We'll just pay for it. Remember Almost Famous? They fucking smashed the bus through the gate of the stadium. He goes, want to buy a gate?
Yeah.
Hero movement.
Sure.
You know what I mean? If you want $1 billion, you're like, they charged me 37% on this piece of shit Altima. Fucking, I'm buying a dealership window today.
Yeah, you just buy the dealership.
Oh, but that wasn't super fast question, which was what dealership did they hit and what high-end zero-taste car are they buying with their wealth?
So this is like a Kool-Aid Man situation. They crash through the dealership of the car they want, right?
Oh,
I think that's the thing.
Okay.
It's basically what would a Altima driver buy if they won the lottery?
It's funny that they're going to crash through the dealership and then expect good customer service.
I think some dealerships, if you show up with a big check, they might go, that's fine. And then they're going to mark up whatever exotic car a huge amount.
I mean, it's got to be like the most unsellable, no, here's what they're going to do. And ask me how I know this. What they're going to do is they're going to spend way too much money, like 50% over MSRP, buying a Singer or a Gunther at auction somewhere. Or from a dealership here in Beverly Hills or something, right? They're going to spend $2 million on a Singer Classic because they don't want to wait to get a new one from Singer, right? And then they're going to send it to Singer to have them strip it and repaint it and retrim it in the color they wanted. And that's going to cost another $800,000. And then by the end of that, they'll have paid 2.5 times more for a Singer than just waiting for one, putting down a deposit and just waiting to build their own, which you can do. So I think that's what they're going to do is they're going to spend 2.5 times what it costs. And because they're going to send it back to Singer, they'll already own it, but they won't actually have the car they want for as long as it would have taken them to just order a new one.
Okay. I think they're punching through the window of a secondhand Chiron dealership, and they're going to walk out with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then sell it when they figure out what a service costs.
Yes.
Nice Cam says F8 Spiders are all trading in the 400 to 450 range. God damn, that's crazy. I didn't know that. I don't watch F8 Spiders, but that's what they were new. You could have bought one of those new if you could get it for MSRP in 2019 and been driving it for 7 years for $0. God damn it. Does it make sense to buy one with a much higher sticker, higher options, rather than a lower one with less options since you're paying around that anyway? Or do you think that values will come down? Now, here's the question.
For quick reference,
yeah,
there's 4 Spiders that were sold on Cars and Bids last year and this year, and they all are below 400. They're 330 to 390.
Okay.
So.
No, I don't know if the question that Nice Cams is asking is should he buy a higher spec one or a lower spec one. But if we're talking about used, I don't know if he's saying should he buy one with like 1,000 miles on it that's top of the market or one with 15,000 miles on it that's $50,000, $60,000 less. I would rather buy one that has miles on it. It's been driven, it's been serviced, and like I think that's fine. I wouldn't necessarily. You can get so many options on Ferraris that I would not get. Like, and the car would be the same.
Right. So that you don't want to go. I'm going to go full stickered out because people could choose shit you don't want that no one else cares about
and costs a fortune.
But also like the base one might not. You want somewhere in the middle, I think.
You don't want plastic all over it, but you also don't need. Like I would skip carbon fiber engine bay.
Yeah.
Like I would skip all that shit. Yep. Like stuff that is in your hands or that you're looking at all the time. Make it nice. Skip the rest of it. Mm-hmm. I'd probably pay more to get a great color that wasn't red. You know, you show me an awesome color and I'll pay extra for that. Have either of us driven the Aston Martin Virage? You mean the one from like the 90s? I've driven one from the 90s and it's not particularly impressive until you start talking about the like V550 and V600.
In this one.
Well, there's the DB9 Virage. So that one, that's when I don't know, 2015 or something, 2011, 12. The very end of the DB9, they tweaked it, they made it look a little nice, and they called it the Virage.
Yeah.
We actually have one at WCCS that looks. It's a really beautiful car.
I think these had a great interior. I remember seeing one in Europe. This was before. I mean, it was one of those interiors where like it's hard to see some of the buttons, but I just like the way this design.
It looks great, other than that pop-up screen on the top, which is the Volvo screen that stinks.
And the PR and the drive buttons on the dash I don't like.
But very pretty cars, and they drive very nice. I don't know if this. If nice cams means the one from the early 90s or the one from 2011 or 12. But the early 90s one, you need the V600, the V550, the fast one.
What a weird design that is, in my opinion. It's
odd.
like tiny canopy, huge body.
Yeah. The ones with the beefy arches and shit, like the one second row, that one. Like, that one, like, when you make it look beefy, it looks pretty good. It's got kind of a touring car kind of vibe.
Yeah.
That looks nice. And then the V600 Le Mans.
That's the one that had the twin superchargers, right?
Yeah.
Cool engine bay.
Yeah.
But like this looks like
Sergio
nothing.
has the slightly smaller V550 Le Mans, which they did for 1 year before doing the 600, which also has two superchargers.
Like if you told me that this was Chrysler's sports performance concept in the early 90s, I go, yeah, sure.
They did a shooting brake concept. Look on the right side of the screen there. Yeah. Little wonky, but I kind of dig it.
I dig it from a pillar back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of into it. But if you... Okay. Where are we here? Piggly Wiggly Deluxe says, my Mazda was stolen yesterday. Oh, what a bummer. Other than the obvious police report, telling friends, family, and coworkers, what else can I do to help find it?
I mean, I've seen a lot of people on Instagram, FD drivers, if their friend's trailer's stolen, they post a thing. Basically, like, get the word out. So crowdsource social media, and especially if you have friends that are local, and have them repost shit. It's just keeping eyes out. Depends on where you live. Like, has it already gone to a shipping port, or is it just being driven around by someone? I don't know. I think you get the word out, and keep an eye on Facebook Marketplace, too. Truly.
Yeah. Look on Craigslist, eBay. I mean, literally places where people sell used cars. Like, you can look on Craigslist and be like hashtag like no title. Like, yeah. Like, if you know IYKYK, like,
I guess it'd be hard to sell that kind of. It depends on the car.
Start going to takeovers. It might like show up there.
That sucks. That's a bummer for this person.
Oh man, Hannah and I. There's some show. I think it's called like Mean Girls, and it's about like girls that like murder, whatever, right?
Okay.
And there's one that's about these girls that like go to street takeovers, and they're like a girl clique.
Oh, I've seen clips of.
You've seen that shit?
I haven't seen that show, but I have seen street takeover clips of women driving like SRT this or CTSV that and like whipping and drifting.
The impression I got of these particular women was not that they were drivers.
Oh,
that
okay.
They were there to be like candy.
Okay.
Basically.
Sure.
That was their vibe, as told by them
Right.
to this television show.
It's like Fast and Furious 1.
Yeah.
Rule almost had a threesome.
Yeah, basically, but like at takeovers in Sacramento. It was like...
Right.
It was rough.
I'm not surprised by any of this.
Rough. Yeah, not great. Charles Leclerc's clinical depression. Renault posted an $11 billion loss regarding Nissan in the first half of this year. Oof. At what point does someone have enough and put the brand out to pasture? Yeah, that's not so good. $11 billion.
That's a lot.
I mean, I don't know what the answer is to that. How do you lose that much money, like, while selling cars? Like, there's Nissans all over the place.
I was looking up, like, I'm trying to think of other companies that lose a lot of money. I was looking at Rivian because they were losing a lot of money per quarter.
Yeah.
But their first quarter of 2025, they had $206 million of positive profit, which might be the first one. No,
Good
highest
for
to
Rivian.
date. So that is a huge. I mean, yeah, Nissan's
Dude, that's
been struggling
half
for
a
a long
year.
time.
That's not even the whole year.
Yeah,
That's so bad. I don't know. I wish I could say I studied the, like, I don't know in the scale of Nissan how bad that is. It sounds horrible, but like, these people play with numbers I don't fucking comprehend. Like,
and there's all these ways to like restructure things.
Yeah.
And I think what we can say is that it's very rare for a car company with any kind of history to just be thrown in the garbage.
Yeah.
There is life support for everyone, you know.
Except
And now
Pontiac,
there's
RIP.
more of it for cool company. Aston Martin bankrupt 7 times, I think.
Yeah, if your cars are pretty, someone will save you.
Yeah, exactly. So Nissan,
There's
I don't
a metaphor
know.
in there.
Yeah,
It sounds bad,
it does.
and also they don't really have any good new product.
There's also that. But they also are so big, like they have all these factories. I think it's hard to let that stuff just go because you have all this equipment and shit. Who knows? But that's big.
That sounds like a ton.
It does sound like a lot of money.
Yeah.
That sounds out of context. That sounds so out of touch. You're like, $11 billion does sound like quite a bit of money.
No, but like
Is it?
when you're talking about
I
a
know.
multinational,
Yeah.
who the fuck they could? I couldn't tell you right now if Nissan is supposed to be making. I'm sure they're supposed to be making more than zero.
Right.
But like I couldn't tell you if a good year for Nissan is $2 billion,
Right.
$10 billion.
I mean, profit's
80
good,
80 billion.
but sure, do they just accept that we're going through a couple years of restructuring? We're going to lose $1 billion every year.
Yeah.
I mean, what this really needs is a private equity douche company to come in, buy this, saddle the debt on someone else, and then they can like call Nissan saved or something like that.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah, great stuff.
Peter Panarchy.
That's funny.
That's pretty
I
fun.
like that.
Okay. How do you... Okay, in the future, if you want people to pronounce that right, I would lowercase p, capital A.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Don't make me do so much work.
Peter Panarchy.
Peter Panarchy is
great.
pretty fun, though. That's a very good one. Wants to talk about a couple drawbacks that EVs have while off-roading. One is a lack of low range. Minimum wheel speed is just too high. I mean, maybe when rock crawling, but I've never had an issue.
We haven't. Now, this person does say that they have a third-gen Taco. They have their brother has a quad-motor R1T and a built Samurai. So they do have some experience. It's possible that if you did rock trails more difficult than we tend to, that you might need lower wheel speed. We haven't really tested that. But on our trail where it's pretty steep and there's some big, like, I don't know, 1 to 2 foot tall rock ledges you have to get up, I have not experienced the wheel speed being too high. It seems like it works really well. So maybe that would become a problem on a more difficult trail.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I appreciate the input.
Totally.
It was not my experience, and certainly wasn't my experience in the electric G-Wagon, which I think does have low range, by the way. I am fairly certain it does. I drive a lot of cars, but I really think it has low range. Zach is looking. I think it has 4L because it has the, like, it has.
It does.
Yeah.
It has a low range gear reduction and can replicate the action of locking differentials.
Yes.
So it does.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't make that up.
But I don't know if
Rivian,
R1T Quad doesn't.
I don't think Rivians do. Barbecue sauce on my. Oh wait, what? Hold on. Holy shit! Wait. I can't read that. Okay. After driving the 4Runner, do you wish it had a small V8, or what V8 Overlander would you pick? I have no allegiance to any type of cylinder count for an overlanding vehicle. I don't really see any argument that somehow a small V8 would be better for overlanding than whatever's currently been decided.
Depends on the power band and the torque. I mean, because this hybrid assist on the 4Runner helps with that. But for some context, my brother-in-law, who I saw in Colorado, he has a last-gen Taco. It's really built. He's done a bunch of stuff to it. If you're into that, go watch his YouTube channel, InfoSponge. But riding in that thing, I asked him, does this thing hunt for gears all the time? He's like, absolutely. It sucks. Like this old 5-speed, he gets like 14 miles per gallon at best. I mean, he's put some bumpers on and stuff. But I think where I'm headed is the new powertrain is more efficient and seems well-suited and is quieter and has less vibration than that old V6. So if you put a V8 in it, there's trade-offs. And it would only help if it was a really torquey, low-range V8. But it also might get shit gas mileage. I don't know. It'd be fun in some ways, but it wouldn't necessarily be better.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. I've never been like, oh, this Turbo 6 Overlander would be better if it had a V8. I've never thought that.
And by the way, like Vinny, he's gone through a couple Lexus GXs. Both have V8s. He drives them on the highway all the time. They get terrible gas mileage.
Yeah.
They're super inefficient.
Yeah.
So depends on what you're doing with your overlanding vehicle.
Yeah, most people who are overlanding, if they actually do out the math, their overlanding vehicle is driven on the pavement like 95% of the time. Most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Derek, I have no thoughts on the Aston Martin Valhalla. We've never driven it. Must drive to have thoughts. Sorry, kid. FSD had the wheel. Fastest alleged speed while actively smoking.
It's a weird question, but
Does that mean like while having a cigarette?
I guess so.
I mean, back in the day when I smoked cigarettes, I'm very certain that on our trips to Pahrump, we sat on the fucking rev limiter of the Raptor at 100 smoking cigarettes.
I think it did 112 or something like that.
No, my Raptor was 100.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was dangerous.
It felt okay.
It was dangerous when you were trying to make a pass.
Oh, yeah.
And you hit the rev limiter at a bad time.
Yeah, surely. I don't know.
Probably 100. I mean, not, yeah. Talking about cigarettes, by the way. This was when I used to smoke cigarettes, like actively having a grid. Yeah, I can't imagine going faster than that. It's like not pleasant to go 1,000 miles an hour.
I don't think you were not a person who would like put your cigarette. You always had the window down.
Yeah.
So you weren't a person who would like close the window on a vet, put it in your mouth, and be like, "Watch this shit," and then go 150. So you were not that person.
I mean, Dick Trickle must have the record. Obviously, respect to the king.
Right. But was he smoking while racing, or just during the cautions?
I mean, just during the cautions, but that's in a NASCAR. That's still probably 120. Just chilling.
I'm not sure. I don't know what they go around at.
Yeah. It's probably 100, 120 regular. Yeah, he had a cigarette lighter and a pack in his NASCAR. Okay, wait. I want to save Dre from Houston's question, but the problem is I am unable to sit here and come up with a bunch on the fly. I think that's a question that deserves some actual thought, not just like real time, what can I think of in 5 seconds? But we'll save that one, and we'll make it into a topic for a next podcast. Enrico Palazzo, would you rather have a single $5,000-ish Switch watch or 10 $500 Seikos? When I first started collecting watches, when I first started living my fucking life, I had one nice watch. Oh, okay. I had one nice watch. My dad gave me a Rolex. And I looked at people that had 10 watches like they were idiots. I was like, I have one nice watch. It goes with every single outfit. Why would I need more? And I was right then. And now I have a whole bunch of watches and change them around for fun for no reason at all other than I like doing that. And I was right both times. There's no right answer. So like if I was the me of today but on a budget of 25 years ago, I'd rather have a bunch of Seikos. If I'm but back then I was perfectly happy and never saw any reason to not have one nice watch for everything. That's fine too. Both strategies, totally fine.
Have you ridden this?
I asked about that. It's the weird. It's that weird looking BMW. Have you seen that thing? The weird looking. The BMW CE04 is this sort of very futuristic looking BMW scooter.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Very Judge Dredd.
Yes, very Judge Dredd.
That's the second one. Wow.
Now, it's almost as expensive as the Can-Am, but it does have the underseat storage, more like a Vespa.
$12,300. It's weird. Yeah, the front of it looks like a scooter. It's BMW EV scooter.
Uh-huh.
Huh.
So it's weird looking, and it does seem interesting. I've seen a couple of them around L.A., haven't seen one with a cargo box on the back yet. Still waiting to see that. It's very like designy, and that's cool. It's honestly more interesting than what BMW is doing with their car division right now for the most part. I'd like to try one. I think they only have the CE02 at the press fleet, and that's like the less good one. I need the 04.
You know, it looks like a snowmobile.
Yep.
Put wheels on it.
Yep.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, one or two more, and then we will end because I very much have to pay. Jake Shore's, wait. Okay. Least reliable but best brands to lease but never own out of warranty. Land Rover.
I mean, so I brought this up. Like, Audi got dead last in this initial quality study.
Uh-huh.
So that's not very good.
That's not great. Okay. Wow, Nissan is way right up behind Lexus. How about that?
That's amazing. Reliable, but they can't sell any of them.
Yeah,
I guess.
How interesting. The very bottom, let's see, the very bottom, Rivian is real bad.
Now, how amazing is it that Infiniti is fifth from the bottom, but Nissan is second? How do you do that?
Maybe they're built in different factories.
I'm actually really bummed to see Mazda that far down.
Yeah.
I thought they were better.
Land Rover, not as bad as you'd think, but they're right next to Mercedes. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't want to own any EV out of warranty, personally. That's where I would start, really. So brand agnostic. I think there's a lot of things that are probably okay. But still, a Land Rover would be scary. An Audi or a Mercedes or a BMW would be scary.
Sure. And for people listening, I'm referencing this J.D. Power initial quality study, which is not like long-term ownership reliability. It's problems when the car is, I think, was it under 100 days?
Yeah.
It's when the car is pretty new. It's like, what are people struggling with? And I think we read this before, and some of that comes down to like they're confused. Go back to confusion. They got confused by the screen or something.
Yeah.
But it's a bunch of shit.
Okay, last one.
All right, let me do that.
And it says, okay. How? Oh, you know what? I think Sly's question is a kind of a joke. But TST Sugar Daddies, what is the worst road trip snack mistake you've ever made? Ooh.
The worst snack mistake. I'm sure I've eaten things that my stomach did not like very quickly.
I mean, I can't necessarily say like I've had like the stuff I buy at gas stations is going to be predictable. You know, I'm buying beef jerky or like chips or nuts or something. I'm not getting some weird gas station hot dog.
This was on a trip where we looked up the law and you were allowed to drink in the back seat. Mm-hmm. It was on our big East Coast trip in 2012. And I bought like a Buzzball like wine something. Those drinks, they sell those in Costco fishbowl size. That stuff's disgusting.
Yeah.
But that was the worst tasting wine I've ever had in my life. That was really grim.
A buzzball.
I remember seeing them, and I guess I should have bought the brown one that's like a mixed colada, but I got that, and it was really terrible. I should have expected that to be terrible.
I mean, I could easily say that drinking 7 cups of coffee on my drive back from Tahoe and having a panic attack, I think probably qualifies as worst road trip snacking mistake that I have made. I can't think of any other road trip food that I've had that literally like caused me to have to stop on the side of the road for like an hour.
I'll tell a story. It's not mine, but we were filming with it was Thad, and he's listening right now. But we were filming Big Muscle.
Oh, I know. I know where you're going.
And
with
I
this.
bought him like a Monster Energy Starbucks coffee thing because this was before you could get cold brew like in a can. And we're up on top of the mountain of like the 33. And he drinks this thing, and he just comes over. He goes, "I need the keys to the battle wagon." And we're like, and Mustard and I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "I have to go down to the bottom of the mountain right now to use the bathroom." And Thad looked very serious. He's a very large, imposing man. And I gave him the keys, and he drove down. And Mustard and I were like, "I guess we'll shoot beauty shots."
Yeah.
And he comes back 20-ish minutes later, and he hands me the keys again. And he says, "Never buy me one of those again." It was the Starbucks like vanilla latte in the glass. That's what it was. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was one of those things. Never. Oh. I just remember, never buy me one of those again.
Oh, shout out to Thad. All right. Thank you, patrons. That is a good one. We'll save Dre and Houston's question for the next show. We love you guys. We'll see you on Thursday. Thank you for listening. Get tickets to our show in Texas today while they last. See you later. Bye.